A new Cato National Survey finds that self-censorship is on the rise in the United States. Nearly two-thirds, 62% of Americans say the political climate these days prevents them from saying things they believe because others might find them offensive. The share of Americans who self-censor has risen several points since 2017, when 58% of Americans agreed with that statement. And these fears, well, they cross partisan lines. Joel Patterson's a workplace culture expert and founder of the Vested Group. Joins me once again here on The Morning Show. Good morning.
Good morning, Bruce. How you doing?
Good. So this study shows people are afraid to talk politics, and it's led to something called election stress disorder. So how should bosses deal with political talk in the workplace?
Well, unfortunately, I think they're going to have to deal with it these days. I mean, there's really no way to get around it. And unfortunately, it feels like things have gotten so divisive in the election process that even if somebody just wears a shirt or makes an innocuous comment, somebody's going to be offended by it, and you're going to have to likely do something about it, because what you fear is that there's people that don't want to say anything about it but have a certain feeling or an emotion that isn't productive. And so it's better to just say, look, no Biden shirts, no Trump shirts. One thing I'll say, though, is it's really kind of troubling in the survey you mentioned is that 44% of people under 30 feel like it's a fireable offense if an executive donates to a campaign, and that's headed down a slippery slope I'm not sure any of us are prepared to deal with.
All right, so you mentioned something there. You're having a Zoom meeting, and somebody shows up wearing a Trump or a Biden T-shirt. I mean, should companies have a policy at this point?
I think they have to. I think that, personally, we don't have one yet, but I think it's becoming more of a priority in that you do have to deal with it because it's going to happen eventually. And like I was saying, somebody's going to be upset about it. I mean, there's not much you can't say these days that somebody's not going to be upset about. And it almost comes down to like a discriminatory thing, because people will get so wound up about it. And so, you're really better off just dealing with it up front and preventing it from happening in the first place.
How about social media policies and employees posting things on their personal Facebook pages and Instagram and things like that?
Yeah, people are aware of the social media impacts these days. Employees already know that what they say on social media is more important and it's going to last longer than what they say in person. And so you definitely have to have a policy around this. We've had this kind of culture of compliance that we've built over the last few decades that really says that you've got to legislate everything that happens. Well, that's not really possible. So really, when you think about what your policy needs to be, make it more about treating people like adults, but come up with specific things that allow you to say, all right, do you do a total ban? Are there things that are allowed versus what isn't allowed? But most importantly, do the posts follow your company's values? Because that really should drive their behavior.
So should the boss actually ask the rank and file to kind of tone things down?
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing, at least to set a precedent. Certainly he or she should not be wearing a Trump or Biden shirt while they're asking, but maybe just let people know, hey, this is a hot topic. This is not a me versus them thing. We're at work. We've got a job to do. Let's tone that stuff down while we're there and keep that for the dinner talk. So
it is so divisive. What if things do get out of hand? And I mean, they get out of hand at the family dinner table at some homes.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. I'm guilty of that as well. Hopefully you get it to early enough to where it's just a matter of having a conversation. But I still think that as long as if you've got the company core values that your culture depends on, if those are rock solid in your organization, you're going to be able to have a conversation and deal with that issue.
I mean, does it get to the point where you just say, look, we're just not going to talk politics?
I think we have. I think we are there. We've got TVs in our office, and we turned off all political stuff because of exactly that, because even the tickers going by on the bottom sometimes, it's enough to get people wound up, and we want people focused on their job and not finding other areas of undue stress.
Joel Patterson, appreciate your feedback on that. Have a great day.
Thanks, Bruce. You too.